Yeah, yes, I'm here. Mm, mm.
Yeah, we got a lot on the chat group where members of our constituents, in fact, just in the crime chats, where people are moaning that the hotel is dropping, they get losing signals. So yeah, it is a big challenge. Sure. Sure. I was hoping to have some nice, robust engagement with some of our other candidates. Yeah. Yeah, we are good friends, so I look forward to engaging with him even post the elections. The same with Colleen and Morris and some of the others from the other political parties. Yeah, so, but here we are, and so we need to make good of what we've got. Mhm. All right. Absolutely. I think that, look, the reality is that we are all appalled by some of the service delivery, and that being one of the top matters of concern because it impacts our mothers, our seniors. One which I am very, passionate about because I run a seniors club as well, and it's so disheartening to hear that they have to be running around and sometimes being shifted from the town centre or the Mitchell's Plain Day Hospital to smaller sites like out in the back of Eastridge, where they are fearful to go to, but have to go even now with regards to the vaccination. And it has been a difficult challenge. I've picked up and transported some of them during the past couple of months, just to ensure that they have safe passage. Now, if we can't provide basic services such as this for our seniors, their tablets needing to be collected, them to be receiving some type of follow-up visits for medical checkups, then we are going to be failing dismally because those are our pillars of our community. And I am insisting, or when I am, or if I am elected, my main cause or main focus would be to challenge the healthcare system and to look at viable alternatives. We have best practice that we can fall back on. There's a global practice where medication can be dispensed and delivered to the homes of our seniors. Why do they need to go and stand in these long queues, and sometimes in dreary weather have to wait to be seen? And with COVID regulations, they have to be standing outside and sometimes not even in the medical facility. They have to be standing outside in the parking across the road from the medical facility. And this is again appalling. Thank you so much for that, Sachin. So the reality is that, I mean, I have on numerous occasions, because of the substance use disorders challenges that we face in working with young people and adults alike, dealt with medical management. And as much as you look at other competencies such as our South African police services as well, these are all national competencies, and national policies has been deployed to ensure that service delivery is almost enacted. But when it comes to delivery of the service, my challenge is, and Reverend Franklin sits on the board of the health facilities, and I know that this is something that they always fight for and work towards, but the management may decide to do something, but we have some things that is basic. I mean, really basic, as having an intake or an assessment done at a medical facility such as the Mitchell's Plain Day Hospital, and you don't see empathy to the point of understanding the plight of those seniors, because they are not being treated humanely by the frontline staff. And so this is quite a challenge, because yes, the operations has been set and the policies has been put in place, but still the daily operations is what is being challenged and questioned. Why can't humane basic services be rendered to our seniors and to any of our citizens that has to use the day hospital, who does not have private medical aid to be able to get their needs met? So my challenge lies with the frontline staff, the administration staff, the security staff that is not even from the area where the medical services is rendered. And so they do not engage in a way that is empathetic to the need of the ma, the granny that is standing outside there, that doesn't even get offered a chair to sit outside. And so, I mean, simple things that the Democratic Alliance can be assisting with, which we've been asking for, is to be able to put some cubicles outside, put some marquees outside, and this has not been met with acceptance by management of hospital facility. So these are challenges, real. You muted, Mr. Atchin. Mhm. Mhm. A sip of coffee. Yeah, thank you. Look, I mean, I just before. Sorry, I'm getting echo. Can I go ahead? Okay, so I have just prior to having received my acceptance as a aspirant candidate for for the elections for Ward 81, I served as the chairperson for the sub forum of the Westridge CPF. And I had to then vacate that office, obviously, because of the constitutional policy. I can't serve on that board. However, I still, as of Friday and the week before, went on patrol with the members of the Neighborhood Watch. Now, let me just be very clear. I had law enforcement present with me past Friday from 7 o'clock through till almost half past 10, where it was stormy, but they walked with me. JP Smith joined as well, which he occasionally does when we invite him, because they give us the resources with regards to, in fact, he brought more torches and more bibs and equipment for us to use. Now, let me just state this very clearly, that the South African Police Services is party to this the Community Policing Forum, and on their own account, we had several times had requested that the law enforcement is set up in the local precinct and to work alongside our local police services at the charge office to be able to effectively do joint operations. And periodically, Brigadier Kees Gulam has called on law enforcement to come out and assist. Now, I know that you may not have seen their physical presence, but I am a direct witness and testament to having said that they have increased their forces. We just had extra LEAP officers deployed to Mitchell's Plain precinct, and they have been welcomed by the South African Police Service. But the national instruction is that the two remains apart. Now, unless we change that national instruction, unless we make the governance of that policing service a provincial competency, we will always have Bheki Cele coming with his loud mouth and making promises and noise about what he perceives they are doing differently. We have seen a lot more engagement with the law enforcement and the South African in the Westridge area over the last 4 or 5 years now, not just in the elective period, but Minister Albert Fritz himself has been on patrol with us. Right. All right. Correct. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Right. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. So, I mean, it sounds like Reverend Williams has followed my Instagram post where it was it was clearly stated by J.P. Smith himself, where he verbalized the insurance that is being discussed at caucus as we speak. I mean, it's been the process for the past almost well 2 months has now been a more vigorous period of discussion around ensuring that they are covered, but more so how to deploy leap officers. And I am not going to lie and bring things to the fore, but the reality is that this is something that the DA government, I can tell you how Councillor Eddie Andrews, who has is the outgoing ward councillor for Ward 78 back then, it's now Ward 81, has provided coffee, sugar, and kusistas through the use of either, I can give you names, Ms. Irma Cotton at the Scouts Club has assisted with that, Mr. Hanif van Diemen in Kronendal, where Auntie Fauzi has been providing and assisting in that regard. So they are working vigorously together to ensure that there is. No, that is not what I'm saying. I'm really responding to what Mr. Action is saying. And on your insurance, I have clearly indicated that that is what has already been stated. So my response is quite simple. I've lived Westridge my life. I have not come into voting as a politician because I am a politician. I am a leader and an activist. I have over 25 years in my community served people that once they've heard, they're saying, "Oh, Ashley's done," and my footprint of the past is one testament to what already have been put in place. My move going forward is to ensure that I work with the Franklin Williams of our area, with the Collins of our area, and the Musas of our area, because we need to be able to find a way of being able to hold our party, because party does not take precedent over people. People make party. And so if when I am elected into office, I speak into the faith aspect. When I'm elected into office, I've already set out to establish wards in various faculties or ministries, be it sport, business economic, crime and safety, and seniors as a priority in that as well, and youth development projects. So I've already established these competencies over many years. I bring that to the party and extend it through my limited 1 million rand budget that I would be allocated in order to see that the people gets to be heard correctly. And so the people will hold me accountable. Yeah, no, sure. Let me go. So we have in our community of Westridge, well, Westgate Mall falls just outside of our border, but still is very much responsible. When they purchased that land, they have. Uh, I don't. I'm going to put that straight out there. I don't know, except the local infrastructure of small businesses and NPOs that are developing small entrepreneurship, and that's how a lot of them are getting ahead. So we cannot discount that, because they are your small hairdressers, your spaza shops. They all hold a huge piece of the economic development in our community, and how we get them to participate. The Naidus of Cedar, the Mr. Hassan Khan from the Westridge Shell Garage. So those individuals, I'm already engaging with them, and the doctors, like Dr. Kada over here, as well as what's his name, that my doctor, I can't get to him now, but they are also critical to the process. Okay. Premium pub, Willie. Correct. Mhm. God. Mhm. It's digging. Mhm. Sure. So one of the things that deliberately needs to see to our kind of conditions around, which is your cleaning of areas and employment of a local workforce to ensure that that is done, hinges on the EPWP program. And very often you find people coming from other areas to come and do that. And so part of the budget I'd like to see allocated, that there is, because one of our problems that we have, and I had found this with the C3s, is that when I log a C3, I have to wait 2 or 3 days and be nagged by our voters to see that job done. Whereas if I had a dedicated EPWP team that is employed from the community to work in the community, they will then be managing the streets, the parks, the graffiti, all of those things, and they would be called on quite easily because they are working within the ward, for the ward. So that is one critical one. And the local stores, yeah, you know, your stores, when they do employ people, to be looking at how to have that conversation, because I've been speaking to the Naidus and Hassan to see how your parking attendance is also vetted in a way that they are not the people that is robbing our shoppers, our commuters, when they come to the local stores. You know, so those are all critical things. Our car guards is undervalued, and they are not given enough resources. So developing their capacity and also ensuring that they are resourced, and also understanding their duty or responsibility. They're not just there begging to ensure that they get their next fix, because a lot of them are struggling with substance use disorders as well. Yes, okay.
Here.
Okay, that's just the two devices.
Yes. Hello, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity. We were talking about your businesses in the area. Now, it's not only Ward 81, it's all areas that you have quite a number of early childhood development centers, and these are women in business. There's going to be a migration shift from Department of Social Development to the Department of Education. I'm not sure how aware you are of the shift, but my question would be, do you know and understand the dynamics of an early childhood development center? Do you know and understand what the principal needs to go through to get herself registered? Do you understand the program that she has to follow? Do you appreciate the importance of the foundation of learning? Because it seems like early childhood development centers have always been the Cinderella of education. This perception needs to change. How are you going to play a role as a ward councillor to ensure that the importance of early childhood development can be so?
Okay, no, I'm quite happy to go.
Yeah.
So the shift has been taking gradual steps towards what you have just mentioned, Karima, and that look, it still resides with the Department of Education, and there's a
Yes.
lot of policies in place that is so many children or so many toilets per so many children, so many learners per so many educators, and they also have to have a them being vetted. So there's a lot of dynamics associated. Sorry, there's a lot of dynamics associated to allowing them to provide that kind of service. Some of the challenges that they have experienced is the neighbors moaning about the songs and the noise that comes from early childhood education centers, and so I'm very averse with the kind of challenges that they are facing on a daily basis. So we have to be able to assist the early childhood centers because our parents cannot go to work without these centers operating. Our parents has to go to work, and sadly, many of them have to leave very early. So the early childhood centers would be accepting the children from as of course 5 already in the morning to 6 o'clock, so that they can get back to the bus station to head off to work. So the challenge lies with the accreditation of these centers. And so I've already had engagements with Mr. Zana, who's with the Department of Social Development, and requested assistance in this regard. And so I want to take that to a next level where the DSD and education takes responsibility for whatever political and for policy challenges that they have to meet, but they must understand that these are the plights of our community and our parents that are running these centers. Many of them have to go to Khayelitsha to go and get their registration effectively set out correctly. So there are those kind of needs that needs to be put into place. So when I'm in office, will definitely set up a ward committee that has a dedicated focus, because that might not be my niche or my forte, but I know that there is someone in this ward that has that as a passion and a drive. So he or she will serve on that committee to help ensure that that is done correctly.
Yeah. Mm.
Good evening, gentlemen, ladies. Yes, definitely. This is something that's very close to my heart. It's the youth. And then obviously the sector that is contributing a lot, which is sports. So if I was just take it up from there, Mr. Potts, kudos to you for always being involved in the rehabilitation processes in Mitchell's Plain. But you know what? There is after the effect. What we in the sports sector is involved in is the pre-rehabilitation, meaning before the kids go off the rails, we're already there. So going forward, this sector, what is your plans, especially where facilities and resources are for the sports clubs, the sports organizations in Mitchell's Plain to further enhance and do their work? Because I can tell you now, money is always available for rehabilitation centers and to get children who's been going through the drug journey to get them back onto the road again. Where there is no funds really available for sports clubs and for sports associations to get things moving forward so that there isn't the aftermath of what we're having. Okay, so that's the one section. The other section, obviously, I don't know why it hasn't come to the fore yet, but this is the plain chamber discussion, meaning it's a business organization discussion. So on your level, and this is an urgent plea, and I've had this already in my Ward 43 with my ward councillor, that if whoever is coming in to be the ward councillor in all of the wards, that they should make it imperative that there is a business sector on every committee. Because why? That is the core of everything. If there isn't a thriving business with a positive cash flow in all spheres, then there will always be lacks. So that is my plea to whoever's going to come in the ward committees, establish 100% at least a business sector so that we can revive businesses in all wards in Mitchell's Plain. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, ladies.
Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely. So with regards to youth development, I agree with you 100%, Mr. Ikshan. The prevention is better than cure is a critical factor. And sports is absolutely a vital kind of avenue, as well as music, to be able to redirect the energy of our young people. Many of them who are standing around aimlessly, unaware of the dangers that they are heading into. And so they get trapped in substances where in my previous employ, I had my main focus as providing treatment service, which I have always said, and I continue to hold, is a major problem because we are waiting for them to become addicts before we help them. We have to have prevention programs. That is why within the Ward 81, we've already established the DAD program, which is an acronym for Decision Affects. One decision affects destinies. And we have 186 young people that has been registered through this program. And we have seen the effectiveness of shifting them from substance challenges and their families. So we have educated them around the dangers and also how to assist their fellow classmate and their friend in the community or neighbor on how to be able to make sure that they get access to services before they cross that line from substance use to substance abuse. So yes, sports would be an avenue that we definitely look at. Your comment around business development and business inclusion when it comes to ward committees, we cannot depend on a small budget that has been allocated to the ward. And when elected, I have to, in your earlier comment, Mr. Atchin, about economics within our ward, we cannot allow businesses, because in terms of business growth and development, they are expected to contribute to corporate social investment. And they get a levy for that, they get a rebate for that. So they would need to be able to contribute towards the development within their local environment. And so we want to hold them accountable to that, but not just do it in a punitive way where we are saying to them, you must. We are saying to them, we want you to contribute, because this is how it will benefit you, and also change your scorecard in the BEE, because your levels will increase if you're contributing to a all black run NPO or community development project. Section 18A. That's it. Mhm. Okay. Okay. Your mainstream churches, it'll be about 20, but there's a lot of churches in the schools and in the halls also. So we're looking at close to 40. Correct. Correct. Yeah, so the concept of ensuring that there is inclusion is quite a critical one. So for me, the reality is that we have a budget as a ward councillor. Very often, that budget is determined by a number of factors. When elected into office, I am very definitely pushing towards ensuring that, like I said, all those various different factors, and one which I thought you're going to spend a lot more time on is the food security aspect, which is a critical matter. That across religious boundaries, we have to ensure that there is food security to our community. And although Westridge, in many respects, has always been seen as the uppity area, they are also taking strain and struggling in a number of ways. So going forward, I would like to be seeing that there is members of our Mitchells Plain Westridge specific Ward 81 area or sector included in that whole discussion where a budget is assigned and allocated. And the monthly reporting, I have started a process with MailChimp, and I've got a number of chat groups across the Westridge community already established through the neighborhood watches and other platforms. We are able to engage them at a drop of a message. So I'm going to be moving towards that, where a MailChimp newsletter will be able to be established so that we can not just talk about the niceties, but also the ugly, and share the reality of what is currently happening and ask for comment and involvement from the local community. So the church, the imam, I work very closely with Shafiq or Farouk Abbas at the Westridge Mosque, and he does an amazing feeding program out in that side. Sultan Bauer, who is Mr. Shafiq Davids. So working very closely with those establishments and seeing that there are other competencies included in that, where we have links. We have trained just over 40 NGOs to bring them up to compliance so that they can be ready to access the grants and aids that is being advertised in the community papers. So we're wanting to be doing more of that. But again, in closing, I'm wanting to say that out of the Westridge Ward 81, which is Rocklands as well, or part of Rocklands, we need to ensure that the voices of competent, effective community people that is willing to get involved and ensure that I am held accountable as the ward councillor, and not just held accountable, but they would be a part of a process that ensures that there is inclusion, where responsibility is a part of that accountability, so that the business, church, faith-based, NPO, ECD, sports, all those faculties are included in the process and the discussion.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I was literally hanging, so to speak, on your lips. But as far as I'm concerned, it's all words. And these words have been spoken. It's nothing new. But we do have a paradigm shift in our thoughts nowadays after the pandemic. So I hope that your words can actually make a turnaround one day, or in the next after the next election. And all the best to you both, eh?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, basically the same thing. The proof of the pudding is obviously in the tasting. And you guys are all vying both of it for that big pudding to be the ward councillor in your respective ward. And going forward, best of everything for both of you who's present tonight on this medium, and the others who was not, same to them as well. But the fact is, like our secretary has mentioned, when all is done and all the fanfare is over, the real work starts. So we are, as the Plain Chamber, looking forward to working with anybody who's taking up the chair there. So going forward again, thank you very much for being on this medium with us this evening. And thank you very much for partaking in it and sharing your views with us. God bless and go forward. Thank you and good night.
You're muted again, Sean.
Yeah, Sean, you're muted. He's busy saying thank yous to everyone.
You opened your screen, but not your mic.
He's still muted. There we go.
There we go.
It seems like as soon as I switch on my camera, it's dead. Guys, stay well. I'll stay in touch. Okay. Thanks a million, everyone. Cheers.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Night, Karima. Good night, Ikshan. Sean, take care. Thank you so much for that robust discussion.
Good night, everyone, and God bless.